Hello again, it's Nick Morgan with another episode of Just One Question. And I'm really honored and privileged today to have with me an old friend, Eric McNulty. Eric, I'm going to work really hard to get your title right because it's complicated. But Eric is the Associate Director of the National Preparedness Leadership Initiative at Harvard. Did I get that even remotely correct?
You got that right. You
Awesome.
did a great job.
Oh, thank you. And he's also, even more importantly, as relevant as that sounds to our video today and our question today, even more importantly, he's the co-author of Your It, which I believe you can see in the back of his screen there. Crisis Change. Yes, Crisis Change, and How to Lead When It Matters Most. Well, first of all, Eric, before we jump into that, tell me how you're doing, and are you sheltering in place, and how's that going?
Doing okay, sheltering in place, getting used to life in Zoom. Actually, I guess for me, it's the good news, bad news is that this is the moment, right? When your specialty is crisis leadership, this is the moment. So you get really busy. So I have not been suffering from boredom or lack of things to do. It's been the opposite of sort of being a bit running late hours and between phone calls and briefings and coaching with students and writing things. That's kept me busy. So it's been tiring, but at least I feel like I'm in the fight, at least on the periphery of the fight, unlike the people who are in the hospitals and such. But that makes it a little bit easier to feel useful right now, which I think is an important thing for people.
Yeah, that's a great point. Already you're starting to answer the question. I appreciate that. I think feeling useful is important, especially for people who have before this led very busy, useful lives, highly scheduled and full of rewarding and deep exchanges, whether you're a speaker or a consultant or a business leader of some kind. So the enforced idleness can be very difficult in that situation. Absolutely. So let's get to the question then. And I feel like I'm hitting you a massive softball or pitching you a massive softball here, but try to keep your answer to under 14 hours, Eric. So what in your background or expertise, what not in your background and expertise has prepared you to deal with this unprecedented crisis? The floor is yours.
Certainly, being in the crisis leadership business, I'm fortunate in that I've first of all, been through previous pandemics of H1N1 and a pandemic like the Ebola crisis as a researcher. So I'm not quite as unfamiliar with public health outbreaks and what they involve as some people would be. So that has helped. But I think more generally, my life, and perhaps much like yours, falls into two buckets. I do research and writing, and I do speaking and teaching. Mm-hmm. And the research and writing piece is generally a solitary affair. So being stuck at home, though I prefer to be writing in a coffee shop someplace, being stuck at home, having to amuse myself is not a foreign experience. And even traveling when speaking, I wind up spending a lot of time eating dinner alone in the hotel bar or whatever if you don't have friends in town. So again, if you get sort of used to being productive while being somewhat isolated. So, that has helped. And again, given the what's going on right now, being able to help people by doing interviews, by writing, by sharing some of the wisdom over the years has helped me feel engaged in a way that keeps me upbeat, keeps me feel like I'm helping in some way. And so I think for any of us, to the extent that you can get involved in something and be healthy, that directly by supporting local businesses, local people who are really in the fight, that's I've seen and I've been by being able to do some version of that for a while now, that keeps me positive through all of this.
That's great. And you said there were two things. So there's being in the fight, and what else?
There's being in the fight, and say it's sort of again, I think been used to over time, actually appreciating time alone and time a bit of self-isolation. Because if you're writing a book or you're writing a long article, you need that focus time, and it is a little difficult in that it's you don't get to choose when you're going to do it. It's now through who knows when, but that in my background, I grew up an only child, so I had to amuse myself a lot through the years, and and so That's helped it. But also, again, I mean, because I've had the privilege of knowing a lot of the people who are in this, I have a lot of both friends, colleagues, former students who were engaged in this fight across the country, across the world, actually. I know we've got a lot of really good people doing really good work.
Mm.
And that also helps me get through this. I can look out and see, despite the baloney you see on the news conferences or on the front page of your favorite news site, there's a lot of people just out there working really hard, doing good work, trying to save lives and help us all get through this.
Oh, that's a great point and a wonderful reminder. And also I'm indebted because I've learned a new fact about you, a factoid about you, Eric. I did not realize you were an only child. So that's probably the best preparedness you could have for sheltering in place that or any of us could
Absolutely.
have. So thanks for that, and thanks for your insights. And I really do appreciate this idea that that if you can take part in helping in some way, that takes the sting out of this sense of enforced idleness. So I really appreciate the commentary. I really appreciate your time. Go back and get back to work and keep fighting that good fight. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me on. You too. Be well.